So here's an interesting thing I saw today before we get into our topic. On YouTube, and you mentioned Eddie Trunk before we started rolling, and that reminded me because it was on Eddie Trunk's show, and it was this little 5-minute clip, and it was Kirk Hammett talking about how he did not contribute to the writing of Hardwired to Self-Destruct. So I guess that means that, like...
There was writing? I thought they just sort of, like, copied stuff they'd done before.
Well, yes, but here's what they copied, is that they used to not let Kirk Hammett write anything.
No, there you go.
The thing is that James wrote everything.
Is this kind of like when Fates Warning let Ray start writing? Everything went to shit.
Yeah. Because I remember that being, part of their drama was, James wrote all the riffs, and Kirk played solos, and that was it. And he was like super rigid about it. But so it's really interesting because when he did start, when they were like, when they tried to get all mature and like get along.
You mean through therapy sessions?
Right. And they let him contribute, and they made Saint Anger.
But I mean, they were already terrible at that point.
Right. Well, he might have also contributed on like Load and Reload or something too, because those were also pretty.
Who was the genius behind Unforgiven 2? Give that man a raise.
I love
that, and
that one.
My favorite terrible Metallica ideas. Not Lulu. That's just so bad that it's not funny. But Unforgiven 2 and The Memory Remains with Marianne Faithfull. What a way to train wreck that.
Yeah, those two are the ones I think I have fond memories of laughing at those songs whenever I heard them.
Would you say that your memory remains?
Yes, my memory of that remains.
Fortune, fame.
So
gone insane.
Means. Yeah. So
bad.
So it was funny because Kirk was talking about like, how he has mixed feelings about it, but it worked out because he could just focus on his leads. I'm like, did you? Because haven't you been doing that all along and it hasn't helped?
Well, and all the leads sound exactly like they're like watered down versions from 1987.
Yes, when he also was free to focus on the leads, but they also weren't that good. Like,
yeah, I feel like that band has an excess of feelings if those therapy sessions are any indication.
Right. Well, they've been repressing them for so long.
Are you... I don't need no instructions to know how to rock. Unless you, professional psychology man, have any, then I will listen, and we will perhaps incorporate those on the next album to the detriment of all.
Yeah. So at the end of it was just a little like 5-minute clip, but at the end of it, he was basically like, but it worked out really well because it's a really good album. And
because people bought it for some reason. People were so desperate to believe. It's one of those deals where like you want to believe so badly that whoever it is a good person. People want to believe so badly that Metallica is not terrible that they're like, I bought it. It's so good. I paid money to acquire it, and I listened to it all the way through.
I bought it on 3 different colors of vinyl.
The one time.
I have all the different vinyl colors available because they sound different.
So colored vinyl actually does sound different than black wax.
No.
So
it does?
Yeah, check this out. So technology tip for all you hipsters out there. So the reason why is because the temperature at which the vinyl deforms is lower. So what ends up happening, this is compared to like a normal black wax press. I don't know anything about various, like, I don't know if like orange vinyl sounds different than purple vinyl. All I know is like colored versus black. And of course, there will probably be exceptions, people who want to send us hate mail. Yep. But so what ends up happening is essentially the needle it doesn't sit in the groove the same way. It kind of like glides on the vinyl. So you get like a different sound. That's an actual thing.
Interesting. I have to look into that.
So everybody who has your pristine picture discs, you might want to break this out.
Yeah. Oh man, what? I don't know. I had something about physical music discs, but I forgot it. we'll get to that.
So anyway, Eddie Trunk had the Metallica thing. Was that the whole deal?
It was just a random clip, and it literally was like Kirk Hammett talks about how he didn't write anything on this album, and I was like, "What? Please tell me more." And it was basically like they didn't say that it was part of the Back to Our Roots plan.
None of them,
but it clearly is.
None of them actually wrote anything. No, I'm sticking with that because essentially here, I feel like there's a turning point when Lars played that fill on the Black Album that went ta 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 ta, right? Because that's like everywhere on this disc. Did I talk on the podcast about my cab drive, how I listened to the whole album?
No,
at NAMM. Because so I got in this Uber pool, and the guy was playing the new Metallica, and he'd like just put it on, but I didn't know because I didn't know the order of the tracks. It was just that one Atlas Rise or whatever the first single was, and I was like, "Is this the new Metallica?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, kicks ass," and he like turned it up, and I was like,
"Oh, that's not where I was going with that. That's not the direction I was going with the."
I will
inquiry.
I will sit silently for the rest of the trip. But then I pulled it because I had all day and I didn't care how quick I got there. So I was like, sure, I'll save.
So how many people did you force to listen to Metallica?
Well, we picked up some like college girl and he like turned it down before she got in the car. And I was like,
what's this discrimination?
No,
you make me listen to it.
Well, I think he was trying to maximize his driver rating, and he probably figured like I'd be like, hell yeah, man, Metallica. Yeah. But this girl clearly, she was of the age where she probably would have been like, isn't that like dad music? Yeah, isn't that like what dads listen to? Be like, I mean, people of dad age, but aren't necessarily actually dads. Like,
right. Maybe deadbeat dads listen to a lot of Metallica.
Speaking of, did you ever hear that? Have you ever heard that band, the Deadbeat Dads?
No.
They're amazing. They have a song called All My Exes Cash My Checkses. they're great.
Nice.
Making delinquency fun. Check it out. Check it out, guys.
All right, so really quick, I'm going to introduce this new segment. I'll make a bumper next time it comes up. We've technically done this one twice, although I did it wrong because I provided context. So the segment is going to be called Out of Context, where we provide great out-of-context quotes from musicians. If you heard our Heavy Montreal episode, we had Iggy Pop, who said, I'm almost dead and I need this, man.
No, he said, I fucking need this.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I'm almost dead and I fucking need this. He sounded like he was about to die.
Yeah, which is why I'm still surprised whenever I hear that he's not dead. But
right, especially like with everybody else popping off.
Right.
You're like, what? Iggy's got the secret sauce, man.
Yeah. Him and Keith Richards are taking the right drugs or something.
Map that genome. I need whatever gene therapy we can get based on Keith Richards. Stat.
And then the second one is from this year's NAMM show, Marty Friedman. Massive cojones. That's what I like to see. What? And then the newest one is Joe Rogan podcast with Henry Rollins. It was a really good podcast. And I was never that big of a Henry Rollins guy because I don't listen to much punk and
or spoken word.
Right, or spoken word. And I was always and I was also like, well, that's cool, but whatever. But the stuff he talked about in this Joe Rogan was interesting because I kind of didn't realize like what he's been up to since he basically stopped doing music, which is also interesting. He talks about that in there too. It was kind of interesting because he basically just woke up one day. He's like, I'm out of lyrics. So I think I'm done. And then he literally called somebody like, yeah, I'm done. But anyway, so at one point they're talking and Henry Rollins says, I just want to explode as much as possible. And I will not give any context for that.
Be like, you got to listen to the episode.
Yeah. It's a really good podcast.
You're welcome, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. You're welcome, Joe Rogan. I know you need those views. It's helping you out a little bit.
Friend of the show, Joe Rogan. Friend of the show. Hashtag Joe Rogan.
So we both recently saw a movie that's several years old, which I honestly didn't see because nobody told me what it was about correctly.
Yeah, I don't remember how I heard about it. I feel like someone told me to watch it didn't really give me any context. Because what I think happened was, it was at the same time someone told me to watch Untitled, which is another, if you're a fan of this podcast, you need to watch that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember any context, and I watch movies so infrequently that I didn't watch it for years until I've been on a lot of planes this year. And so it was just like, I eventually got to it in my like, hey, what's on my tablet, and ended up watching it. Right. And that's when I was like, have you guys seen this?
Yeah. And when you told me about it, that's when I was like, oh, I need to actually see that, because
I did a better job of explaining what happened.
Better, like literally nobody else had ever properly told me what that movie's about. And so the movie is Exit Through the Gift Shop, and it is not fucking about Banksy. It's not about.
And he even says Banksy in the movie says that it's not about him.
Like at the beginning, like it's who. I don't think. Okay, so the reason I did hear about it was because it was on the Oscars, because it was up for Best Documentary, and I don't remember if it might have won. I don't remember, but yeah, it just was like this documentary about Banksy, and I was like, fuck Banksy. I don't give a shit about Banksy. Oh, nobody knows who it is. Who gives a shit? Like, I mean, it probably makes sense because what he's doing is probably vaguely illegal sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But also...
No, when they talk about they printed that fake money.
Oh,
he's like, and then we realized
that's
you can totally spend this. Right? No, like lots of the stuff he's doing is like there's not like a gray area. He's like, this is really not okay.
Yeah.
Like destruction of public property. Then they steal the phone booth. Like there's all kinds of stuff where like super illegal.
Yeah. So I was I was like, is this whole thing going to be about like, who is this guy? Because like, I don't give a fuck. Like 90.
Right. Especially if there's no payoff. Right. Especially if the whole thing is like, we still don't know.
And to be fair, I feel like, so especially based on like music, I feel like with the exception of like, well, not in music, but in general, the only example I can think of where something like that actually paid off is like maybe Andy Kaufman doing his whole Tony Clifton thing, because nobody knew that was him.
Well, right. Well, and the other thing was I mean, Andy Kaufman like was a performance artist, and that part of his whole thing was the blurring the line, right? Like when he used to have the intergender wrestling matches, and like like he did so much shit that it was essentially like a precursor to identity politics in a lot of ways, which is really fucked up when you think about it.
Yeah.
But so I think Andy Kaufman is definitely like the exception.
Yeah, exactly. So a good counter example. So cases when it didn't fucking matter, or like nobody. So a good example is Buckethead,
right?
Because he's clearly just some dude who plays guitar, and that's his thing. But
right,
he's
just the gimmick.
He's got to be some other famous guitar player. Why?
No.
Why would it be some other famous guitar player who plays totally different from other famous guitar players?
Right, because first of all, everyone knows
far less marketable music.
Yeah, like everyone knows, like you never split your branding unless you're afraid that the one thing will will adversely impact your other thing. But
so he would have to secretly be like a really successful but not super flashy guitar player.
But I can prove that he's not.
Right.
Because Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah,
because he would have played in Guns N' Roses as his actual.
Right. They wouldn't have
identity.
hired him as Buckethead if he was anybody more famous than Buckethead.
No, he is Buckethead.
Right. And he's a weird dude. So
right. And it doesn't matter. And you know what? Here's the spoiler alert. Most of the people that you admire for whatever are either terrible people or not interesting outside of like whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
So you're probably better off not knowing the truth about them.
Right.
Right. They have, especially these days where everyone has a very carefully constructed, PR image, and the people who don't, everyone like they're generally accepted as being terrible people, i.e. Justin Bieber.
Yeah. And and Buckethead seems like, from what I've heard, it doesn't sound like he's not trolling people. He's not like messing with them. He just sounds like he is like totally crazy.
Yeah.
Cause like the whole thing about like when he was with Guns N' Roses, and like I guess he had something about like he had to like record in a chicken coop or some shit. Like it was like, which would be hilarious if he was doing it to fuck with Axl Rose.
Right. Because like Axl would be like not having it, but then maybe being like, but maybe
because he doesn't know what the fuck, because he doesn't understand his own, like he doesn't understand Chinese democracy is not some great thing that's been like it was hyped up, but Axl Axl Rose didn't have some great vision of some brilliant concept album.
His vision was, we're going to release something that people can purchase. That was his vision.
And I'm going to make it...
And admittedly, that was a great vision on his part. It's just that considering the quality of what came out, there was no need to take that long to do it.
Right. And it probably hurt it more than anything because people were like, this is supposed to be a really big deal. But then after it took way too long to make it, and then it was like, yeah, that wasn't worth that at all. That would just, no.
It was an excuse to tour, though.
Right. Which other random music news this reminds me of is, speaking of Guns N' Roses and the rotating guitar player lineup.
Who's playing now?
Well,
is it Ron Thal?
I don't know, because this is why, because Ron Thal is now in Scott Stapp's new band.
He can't be in two bands. Oh, I did see that though.
Well, I just don't think he's in Guns N' Roses anymore. Because I forget
because
who
no
is,
one is in Guns N' Roses for very long.
Right. And but I saw that and then I listened to it, and it's not like some interesting thing that happens to have Scott Stapp singing. It's really bland, but
it was in that like everything Scott Stapp was involved in. Really bland.
Yeah, exactly. But you think like, maybe some group of dudes got together.
Is it Scott Stapp's group of dudes?
That
should be the name of the band.
That was my question, because like I was like, what is this?
Coming up next, Scott Stapp.
And it was Scott Stapp. And then they're like, Ron Thal. And I was like, why? Like, does he just have a thing where like, I guess to like, he just picks the most... It's not even...
Dude, he's got to be broke as shit. Like, think about it. Like, because like everyone that I went to school with that's playing like, the huge tours,
right?
They have no fucking money, man. They're like...
Well, he must have got paid for Guns N' Roses.
Did he? Because I can envision it being one of those things where Axl's like, I'm not paying you shit. And he's like, okay, this will probably get me other gigs. Like,
maybe, yeah.
I mean, yeah, he probably did get paid.
Yeah.
And he probably got paid more than you would get paid to play most tours. But I doubt it was like, it was probably less money than I made last year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was interesting because not only is it another project where he's playing super basic stuff, which again, it kind of makes sense since his solo stuff is so out there that like it can't be making him any money, right? It's clearly, it's way in the deep end of like guitar nerdery and like...
No, like literally every Ron Thal fan I've met, like knows him. like there are lots of guitar nerds know of him, right? But I've literally never sat down and listened to a Ron Thal album from start to finish.
No,
Everyone I know who's like, oh man, he's so great. And you're like, and I used to take lessons from him. And you're like, okay, you're from New Jersey. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
But it's funny because not only is it like the same pattern as Guns N' Roses, but it's a massive step down because it's like a sort of, it sounds like it's supposed to be a super group, but not that super.
Not that super.
And it's Scott Stapp. So I don't know. It's just, I kind of want to follow. We should maybe like, actually another episode, we should probably listen to it and like maybe do a deeper analysis.
We might have to drink our way through it.
Yeah. We should
have alcohol waiting ready on standby.
Yeah, we gotta. Well, once we get the video stuff up, that's definitely a format we gotta start messing with. Is the drink through it or suffer through it or whatever. And I feel like I had some idea the other day for a good inaugural suffer through it, but I forget what it was.
Well, bonus points if we can Stockholm syndrome something from Stockholm.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just not. I don't know what's going out of Stockholm recently.
Oh, another episode I was thinking of today. I mean, it's always one I've had in mind, but I'm like, I should probably start like organizing it because it needs a little preparation. But I want to do a full Max Martin episode because I found out from the Grammys that new Justin Timberlake song that's been annoying the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Because it's just so... Another song about how like I like music. That's the message of the song. It's called... Can't Stop the Feeling or something, which I hear like can't stop the rhythm, can't stop the beat, it's just generic as fuck music song about music.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it got nominated for a Grammy because it was from It was in some movie.
Because it sold a lot? Oh.
Yeah.
Because the revenue streams were significant.
Right. And then I saw on the Grammys and they had the credits and it was like Max Martin. I was like, of course it's Max Martin. Max Martin is the great Satan. And that's going to be the episode. It's going to be Max Martin, the great Satan. And they'll be going through how he is the greatest enemy to good music. And I think like maybe maybe there's some sort of like, like balancing like symmetry factor where like, because I used to do this thing where it'd be like, a lot of great music comes out of Sweden, or music, or Sweden makes great music. But then I also like, yeah, but also Max Martin. Like there's
like a yin and yang
exactly,
to it.
Exactly. Like you're gonna get Meshuggah, Pain of Salvation, but you're also gonna get Max Martin.
Well, it's like Tanya had to offset Leprous, right? She's Norwegian, right? I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, we also gotta do that. Her videos or whatever, because it's just
I love you, Tanya. Tanya, I would ask you to marry me, except I know you don't want to be Crappy Housewife.
Oh yeah, that's the song.
So be like, but really, I just want Scandinavian citizenship. So I need Trump's in office now. I need health care coming up here real quick. So will you marry me?
Right. So I guess we should talk about Exit Through the Gift Shop is really about. They don't even.
Well, so I mean, you already mentioned like how people think it's a documentary about Banksy.
Right.
Right. So I wonder if we should go back and look at the marketing material, because I wonder if they were like pitching it like that. But right. So it's about this weird French dude named Terry. Okay. And again, like anytime you watch or you observe someone of a different culture, right, that maybe like I've never lived in France.
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes there's this instinct to be like, oh, he's French.
Like this dude's different. A little weird.
It's weird.
Oh, he's just French, right?
But like it comes out during the movie. It's not like he's just French. It's like French people think he's weird.
Right.
Like he is a legit weird dude.
But he lives in LA, so people are like, oh, yeah, he's just French.
And the thing was, so he owned, or maybe he still does, whatever, but he had a thrift store, and I guess he was one of the first people to go just take old clothes and just be like, yeah, I'm going to sell this essentially garbage clothing. Like this was clothing that someone discarded at $260 an item.
Yeah.
Right. And at some point he like gets his video camera and he just starts filming everything. And you had a good comment on this. You were talking about like, you're like, instead of taking the video camera away from him, like everyone just like enabled his OCD or whatever.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So at some point in the movie, because at first you're like, okay, so it's actually, okay, it is a really good documentary, actually.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's great because it's more self-aware than any of the marketing or award shows seem to let on. And like the movie knows what it's about. It just didn't seem to market it that way because I guess it just, I mean, it makes sense because Banksy was a big...
That message doesn't fit into an advert,
right?
You know,
right.
And people probably would have been like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then not have seen it.
Yeah, in some ways it makes sense how they marketed it because Banksy was such a, again, that's why I didn't see it because it was such a big deal. But every time I heard it, I was like, why? I mean, in general...
right, if you're not into street art and you're not into just like pop culture per se, like I know a lot of people who basically their life consists of like, I go to my job that I have that otherwise isn't involved in any other aspect of my life, and then I like Netflix when I get home. That's their, and so like they're in constantly, they're like, what should I watch now? Right. Yeah. And so if you're on that queue, it's like, here's the thing about a thing that some people care about and may have seen,
right?
So that I can then talk about it with them at some point.
This is a movie about a guy you've heard of.
Exactly.
Yeah. And every commercial just showed, the voice modulated in the shadows Banksy, like a witness
witness protection.
Witness protection. Yeah. So Right. So it's really kind of more about street art in general. At least at first, that's what it seems like. So it is.
Well, that's another point that needs to be brought up.
Right.
Was the thing that what ends up happening is Terry's cousin is a street artist, and he's filming him, and he thinks the whole thing is really neat, like the whole process of the street art. Like he thinks it's fun how you're like, you have to scout out spots, and then like you go in the middle of the night and you are doing technically illegal stuff, and so there's like the danger of getting caught, and then there's the whole public display of later, like, you know, like I did that, blah blah blah, and so they start filming all these other street artists, and of course some of these people are going to be pretty sensitive to being filmed again because they're committing crimes.
Yeah.
Prime example. Like Terry's own cousin, is blurred out for most of the stuff, right? So his cousin is this guy, Space Invader, and so all the other people, all the other street artists, when they're like, who is this guy and why is he filming? He's like, oh, I'm making a documentary, right? Well, okay, but he's not,
right. And there's a key point where he mentions how so he got this camera, he started filming. You know, there's at first there's a logic to it, so you're like, oh sure, so. Like, and this is how they frame it at the beginning. They frame it like this guy was making a documentary about street art, but then somebody ended up making a documentary about him. But actually, that's not entirely true. So he got a camera, and the part that actually makes sense is that he says, like, you know, he started filming it because in a lot of ways it's ephemeral, and it just, you know, street art, it gets taken down or painted over, and so it's kind of cool to document it.
Right. They felt like it was important
for posterity.
But I think that was more the sentiment of the street artists.
Right.
They were like, oh, great. Like we now, we have like, archival footage of this.
And he's like, yeah, okay.
But I feel like if those were his words, that was probably literally someone was like, why are you filming this? And he's like, because it's ephemeral.
Yeah. Or they were like, I get it. You're doing it to preserve it. And he's like, sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
So he at some point he mentions that people started asking him why he was filming stuff and he didn't have a reason. So he was like, I'm making a documentary. And it sounds like he kind of half believed it. Right.
Well,
but
you're saying, like the thing was, he filmed everything. He filmed his daily life and everything. His whole thing was just to film stuff. And then it just turned out that stuff that he happened to be doing at this point in his life was hanging out with street artists.
Yeah.
But he filmed everything. And they show footage of him like brushing his teeth.
Right. And
like feeding his kids breakfast and stuff. It's just like he films everything.
Right. So the conclusion I came to, I'd say about 30 minutes into the movie, was that he has camera-based OCD.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because at some point, I forget exactly what happened. Like, I don't know, like maybe one of his parents died or something. There was some trauma. And then he started filming shit, right? Like they mention a thing happened.
No, they do mention the thing about his parents and like he wasn't there. I think it was, I'd have to go back and watch again, but I think it was like he wasn't there when his mom died.
Yeah.
And right. so then he had this sort of like profound sense of loss of like of missing out.
Right. And so his response was to film everything. And never look at it again. Because that's another key point.
Well, so that's another key point. So eventually all these people are like, hey, so where's that documentary you've been working on for as long as I've known you? And so then the reveal on that is he takes the tapes and he just like puts them in storage and he's never watched any of them. Also, they're not very like catalog, like it's not like he's writing on the tape like the date or what occurred. There's just bins and tapes. Bins of unlabeled tape.
Yeah.
So then the thing was, so actually I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So the deal was, the way this became about Banksy was because essentially he'd met every major street artist. Because the deal, what ends up happening is, when people would come to LA, they would hit him up because he knew all the spots. Like he was willing to take you around, show you all the best spots. And he was willing to do whatever you wanted him to do, like be a lookout, carry stuff, like use his car. There's a scene where he spills paint all over his car, which is amazing.
That's a great scene, and I'm so glad they left it in.
It's so great. So because he's so like helpful to these people, like everyone hits him up. And so he at some point he's like, I've met like everyone except Banksy. And so he's then sort of like gets obsessed with, oh, like I really want to film Banksy, whatever. And so a lot of the movie is about that, like how, like him trying to find him. So eventually he does. And so same line of questioning everyone else has, like, why are you filming? He's like, I'm making a documentary. Right. And so at some point, Banksy and everyone else are like, so where's the documentary? So he goes through just like the gigantic bin of unlabeled tapes and just like picks random crap. And so I don't know if like, this was his intent, or this was just a factor of like, this is all he could do with his uncatalogued archive. But so he makes this thing and it's called Life Remote Control or something.
Yeah.
And it's basically, the idea is he just cut random footage together and then sold it as, well, it's like you're flipping channels through these life experiences, and so there's no continuity to anything. It's like just everything is apropos of nothing, and basically everyone says it's like essentially unwatchable.
Yeah, it's great because the first like they show you a little clip of it, and at first it's kind of like, all right, it's kind of ridiculous, but like you sort of see how people could see it as a modern piece of video art because it's got the constant cuts, right? It's like very jump cut, like everything's cut, like no clip was longer than like 3 seconds, right? He edited so much shit together because he had no idea what the fuck he was doing. But so at first but when I remember when they were showing the clip, I was like, oh, so this is probably like, you know, the beginning of it. But then they explained that it was the entire movie.
It's like 2 hours of
2 hours of that. And you're just like, is this like an attempt to induce epilepsy? Like it's so.
But isn't it also like cut and synced in a way that it's supposed to seem like it's just like really intense too?
Yeah,
like it's really like in your face and like makes you feel uneasy.
Which again would be like, if that was part of it, but there were like ups and downs that
there was I think there was like no concept of tension release.
Right,
it was like
because
it's like a Cannibal Corpse album.
And so once you realize that, then you start to go like, I feel like this movie he made is a red flag of some kind. Like I feel like this should be like people should have seen that and go, well, actually they did, right? They kind of saw it and they're like, that was about the point when people start going, maybe this guy's just like got a screw loose or something. Like maybe it's not just French.
right. It's so the comment about Banksy that backs up what you were saying is he gets there and he goes, yeah, so I think they were trying to make a movie about me. And then they realized I'm not that interesting. And the guy who was trying to make the movie was much more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's a movie about Terry. And so without giving like a ton of stuff away, what eventually happens is, you know, basically they're like, all right,
we're going to spoil it because we have to really analyze the ending.
Right,
That's really crucial.
Totally going to give away the ending, but like we'll leave out all the various street art parts and how he gets there. But essentially, you know, Banksy has like given up on making a documentary about him, and he says, you know, you should go home. He also like he fell off a ladder. Is that how does he injure his leg?
I think
he fell off a ladder. He injures his leg. Banksy's like, you should go home to LA and like work on something, like maybe like because he starts to think like, oh, I can be a street artist,
right? And it's funny because like it clearly seemed like Banksy was just trying to get him out of his hair. Like he's like, you know, maybe you should like do your own street art or something. Just kind of like just go, you know. But instead, like a little later, he's like, that may have been a mistake because the dude does.
Well, so you have to the scope of what he does. So he like mortgages his house and his business and everything, whatever, and hires like a full-time staff. So what he ends up doing is he gets all these people who are like, he goes on Craigslist, doesn't he? And like puts up ads for sculptors and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And he gets these people and basically he says, I want this thing made. So he doesn't actually make any of the art. He just like gives the formula and then has these people make this stuff for him. And he makes tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff.
Yeah. So one distinction. So I think at first they show him just doing like basic street art shit. Like he had like
stencils.
His street art name is Mr. Brainwash, and he had like a Mr. Brainwash stencil. And
it's Mr. Brainwash.
Mr. Brainwash.
Mr. Brainwash.
So first he does all these stencils, and it's kind of just like typical shit. And you kind of see him being bad at it, right? You see him spill the paint all over his car, like in the trunk of the car, and which is that's my favorite scene in the movie. It was so perfect the way, like, just as you're kind of getting like, this guy's kind of off, and then they just show him so. But then so then he decides to do. I think because like I don't remember if he was actually getting some kind of press of his own already, but for some reason decided to do like a big show, right? A big gallery show.
No. There was two things that happened. One, Banksy had this big LA show, which he helped put on. So he now understood the mechanics of what you need to do to put on a show.
Yeah.
Right? And he broke his leg, and Banksy wanted him out of his hair. So Banksy was like, why don't you go home and like put on a show? And he meant like a little show.
Yeah.
Just like but it was in his psychosis that he was like, I should go put on like this bigger show. I should gamble my family's future on this show,
which is a recurring theme because at one point, like talking to his wife or something, and it's so funny how she talks about it because she's kind of like, yeah, well, sometimes it's really difficult because he just, films all this stuff and doesn't get paid. Like it's not a job. Like he's not making any money off of it.
Right. I'm actually really curious about the details of what the status of his thrift shop was throughout the course of all these things. Because presumably he employs people.
Yeah.
So the shop could probably run itself.
Yeah, he might be making income just from the...
No, and I think he was, but I think also like... I think that business probably like started to drop off because admittedly, he would have still done some stuff around it, presumably.
Yeah.
And so I think that was dropping off. And then of course, whenever you own your own business, you're highly susceptible to like, downturns and stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So, she expresses like, it's really scary because we have like 3 kids. They have like 3 kids, and she's like, and he doesn't get paid to make street art.
The way she does it is still so like carefully half defending. It's weird because she's like, it's tough sometimes because, but it's like you expect her to be like, it's tough sometimes because he's a crazy person who won't put a camera down ever, and we have kids. And like, and so, but she's more like, yeah, sometimes it's difficult because, he's got this thing he loves to do, and it's not a job.
He's out all night, every night.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I guess he's sufficiently weird, though, that she wasn't like, he's like, thinks he's cheating on her or something.
Yeah.
Like, he's out all night, and he comes home smelling like paint. He comes home smelling like spray paint.
Maybe she knows he's not cheating because there's video evidence of everything he does. She probably checked a tape or two, and she's like, oh, this is fine. This is fine. Like, this is not... anything I have to worry about.
Check the tape. So anyway, he decides to put on this like enormous show that he spends like all this money advertising. Like he puts in, they get like a feature story in LA Weekly, and but basically the whole thing is completely mismanaged. And so they go through, and again, like this could just be, a lot of times these things are edited to make them seem like much more dramatic than it was. Who knows? Maybe it was handled fine, but you're led to believe that it was totally mismanaged, and you don't have a lot of reason to doubt that.
Yeah.
Because it really is in line with like what's on the tapes.
Right. It makes, okay, so when you look at like the quote unquote movie that he edited together, it makes sense, right? He understands how to like point a video camera at something, right? Because who doesn't? But he doesn't know anything about editing or like narrate or like making a film. And so similarly,
pacing.
He saw that, like, he probably saw at Banksy's show, like, you rent a large space and then put
stuff in it,
right?
And then people show up,
right? And that seemed to be his approach. But like, it's funny because he has so many, like, he has people doing all the work for him, right? Like you said, he kind of like has vague ideas and then he's just like, do a bunch of that, right? Like some of the ideas were clearly like, a pattern that they just repeated. Like,
well, right, and it'd be like, and here's the green one, here's the yellow one, here's the blue one. Yeah.
So he took like the basic concepts of pop art.
Well, I feel people, they do make the comparison to Andy Warhol, which I think is very prescient.
Yeah. And so, but you would think with that, like, if he was even slightly more like cohesive in his thinking, he could have basically phoned it in and it would have been good to go, right? He'll just be like, just give people a little room to do whatever.
Well, right.
But instead...
Well, no. But then at the end, what ends up happening is the staff all realize, like, this guy's not going to get his shit together.
Yeah. And
they stop taking direction from him.
Yeah.
And they just put the stuff in, because it's one of those deals, like, you get this space where you have to walk through it. It's the same way like an art museum, right? Because it's not just like a big warehouse.
Yeah.
Like it was in like the old CBS offices or something, right? So it's like you go in, you go room to room to room to room, but and they just give up on there being an experience and they just put the stuff up. Like, it's literally 3 hours before they're supposed to open.
Yeah.
There's a line of people around the block and they're just like, put it up.
and also like the great part about that segment is, like, just when you think, okay, we've got the full, like, crazy, is like his ego kicks in and he decides that instead of being like, oh, maybe I can do street art, he goes from like, maybe I can do street art myself, after all this time of just kind of like, being a spectator or like kind of assistant to these guys. And then he goes from that to like, I'm the next Banksy. Like, he's suddenly like, I am really, like, and he starts like bossing people around, like, but like it doesn't make any sense because he has no overall vision of what the hell he's doing. But he's just like, no, he just starts yelling, like he really, like, there's a couple clips there where you're like, whoa, like he went from zero to full asshole like overnight. I mean, probably wasn't overnight, but in the movie you're suddenly like, whoa, like, what a dick.
Well, right, and the thing is, like, so the media shows up right on the day of the thing, and they want press for it, right? Because it's one of those deals. They'll show it on the local news. They'll be like, opening today is the blah blah blah, whatever, right? And but again, like, the thing's totally not set up, and he's told everyone to take direction, and they make it out as sort of like that's the point where people just stop listening to him because they're like, we don't know what to do, and he's out there getting interviewed.
Oh yeah, he's interviewing,
and the guy
plus trying to direct everything,
right? Well, and he there's like a point person, right? There's like a guy who's like basically in charge when he's not there, and he's like, dude, you got to come back in here and like, we got to like finish this. And
there's like a room that's like empty.
He's like, give me like 3 minutes. And so I think that dude just goes in and he's like, guys, just put stuff wherever. Like, it's all garbage anyway. Just
plus,
throw it up.
As with most people with some form of psychosis, like he would just change things, right? So like, because there's no logic to his decisions, he could immediately contradict them, right? So I remember the one part where he had them set up something a certain way, and then he'll come in and be like, no, this is wrong. Move this to, just kind of like move the X to Y and Y to Z and just keep rotating shit around, but clearly with no logic to it. So,
or at least no planning.
Right.
That's the key. No planning.
Yeah.
But so then the totally outrageous part of the whole thing is, the marketing worked. And again, and this is the deal. Part of the marketing is he emailed Banksy asking for like a quote to promote the show.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And Banksy's like, he's like, I gave him a blurb because whatever. And what he said, this is, first of all, there's two parts to it. This is what he says. He goes, Mr. Brainwash is a force of nature, and I don't mean that in a good way. And so that's, first of all, that's the quote. And then what Terry does with it is he puts it on billboards.
He puts it everywhere. Huge. Like, it's so great because, like, clearly, like, this movie made me kind of appreciate Banksy. Like, he seems to at least...
He seems like a very reasonable person.
Yeah. Like, I was just like, I didn't give a shit. But then I was like, oh, yeah. So, but he
seems very self-aware.
Yeah.
And also very, like, it's all bullshit. I think that's part of the reason he doesn't want to be like have his identity out there, because this oh man, because they'll never, like, I can't live this down, and it's all bullshit.
Yeah. And so it's great because clearly that quote, like, what's the harm in giving your friend a blurb? But then,
they make it very clear he did not expect that he was going to put it on billboards.
He thought he was going to, be like just, where you have like a bunch of little blurbs about stuff and blah 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 blah,
like in a program.
Right. And he clearly tried to cover his ass by making the statement sound a little bit like backhanded, like just in case. I said not in a good way. It's in the quote. But
did you read the quote?
Right.
It is in the quote.
He probably figured like,
when this thing goes,
just in case,
when this thing goes belly up,
right? And he figured like he'll see the quote and be like, "Oh, I can't put that quote at like the top of my list because it's kind of a little vague, right? And it's a little ambiguous." But instead,
no, ignore all the words and just see who they're from. And I think that speaks to your point about the marketing of the movie, right?
Yeah.
And again, we need to go back and look that up. They're probably just like Banksy, yeah.
They marketed the movie the same way he marketed his show.
Yeah. So he ends up selling on that first day at least $1 million worth of stuff, maybe a few mil. I don't remember. They say in the thing,
lot of fucking money.
But so basically, he takes this huge risk. All these people show up, and it's one of those deals where it's a hype cycle, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because he marketed the shit out of it. And then he makes all this money. And then do you want to give the big reveal of what he does after the show, after the movie?
I forgot.
He does the fucking Madonna album cover for Celebration.
Right.
He literally takes this whole thing, and because he spent so much money on PR, actually turns it into a career.
Yeah. So right. So shit, I had a point about a thing. All right, so the key thing, and I feel like this is the key. I mean, this is the takeaway from like pop art and performance art in general. But the other thing. I just remember. So another part of the marketing was there was like the first 100 people get like a one of a kind print or something.
Yeah.
Like a one of a kind
print.
Right. Yeah.
I've never really understood that, but okay.
Yeah, because right, that inherently is contradictory.
But since he doesn't actually have any artistic ability,
right, so it doesn't. It's
or technical facility rather.
And it was one of those things where like I think they also like threw that. Did they even have them, or like they threw that shit together at the last minute? Or something? It was one of those things where it was
they had them.
Okay, yeah.
I think that was like those Marylands.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah. But right, so like one of my favorite things is to watch for famous artists and musicians who miss the point about other artists and musicians. So a great example is when I heard that like Lady Gaga really likes Jeff Koons and
Metallica.
Well, yeah, Metallica. And then the performance artist who just like throws up paint. She had her like perform with her. Like that's the level of like, I need that in my show. Is this lady throwing up paint? And so similarly, right? So Madonna is like, "Ooh, Mr. Brainwash," and like
I think you need to be really clear for our listeners who don't know what you're talking about. When you say throw up, you mean regurgitate out of one's stomach,
right? She
not like Jackson Pollock, like throw splatter paint onto something.
Yeah,
like she literally. It goes inside her body and then it comes back out.
Like there's a clip in the movie.
She's puking.
I think it was in the movie. No, it's not in the movie. It's at least I don't think it's in the movie. I saw somewhere a clip of her performing with Lady Gaga though, and it's crazy because it's like you've got your like Lady Gaga stage show, and then some lady sticking her fingers in her throat and puking up paint. Like
I thought the Lady Gaga is what drove her to vomit, but it turns out that's why she was there.
That's just what she does.
She showed up to puke. I came here to puke up paint.
Yeah. Yeah. So like the takeaway becomes like the
internet refers to her as vomit painter or vomit artist.
Yeah. So right, it's the I like to
Millie Brown, that's her name. I knew it and I forgot it.
I like to bring things back to like classical conditioning, right? Which is like don't encourage bad behavior, right? If you give positive reinforcement to bad behavior, like it's good. That
It's
you know
gotta-
how that's going to
yeah,
turn out. Like we
right.
figured that shit out. So similarly, like there's a lot of that in this, but especially that show was the ultimate like. All these fucking rubes in LA showed up for this shit and then talked about how great it was
and
bought it for lots of money. And so now the end is like his origin story is complete. This artistic supervillain has been created and he cannot be stopped. And
He is Mr. Brainwash.
He's Mr. Brainwash. And I mean his name is like the most effective piece of art he did because his name kind of makes sense in the end of it.
But it's hilarious because it also is like there's no like ingenuity or subtlety to it, right?
Right.
It's like if you were making a comic book, that's a terrible fucking name.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Like I don't think he knows why it's a good name at all.
Yeah, If who knows, man. But I mean, my whole thing about this movie is essentially critical mass, right? It's hype cycle that turns on itself.
Yeah.
And is driven by, the marketing money, and he created himself as something to be talked about, and then people talked, and that caused valuation.
Yeah.
Like if he had not had an advertising budget, it would have never worked. It's the whole thing was reliant upon getting critical mass in the media.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. Because there's stuff in there. Like they talk about the Obey guy. They talk about him a lot. And like if, I mean, I would imagine probably everybody listening to this recognizes that it's like the Andre the Giant's face thing that says Obey. Like you see it around, but you have no idea what it is or who this dude is. Or like there's stuff around.
Well, he turned it into a clothing line too. So like that thing has taken a whole other like branding step to really.
Yeah. But like there's stuff around New York, like the Be Mighty guy, like where just, you're like, you recognize it, but that recognition hasn't really done a lot to get you to pay into it. And but this dude like marketed this stuff and got all these people to pay him money.
It's like he did some stuff really, really right, but based on the rest of it, I can't believe it was entirely on purpose. Like he just kind of stumbled into the right,
well, no, it's he had no fear.
Yeah.
Right. It was this deal where he was just like, oh, and then that's how you become a famous artist. I'll just do all the famous artist things.
Yeah.
I'll just skip to the end and then I'll be a famous artist. And he was right. And it just goes to show that by having the appearance of being a famous artist is actually more important than having the technique or ingenuity of a famous artist. Now, maybe some people would disagree with me. I believe the art is objectively terrible, as most people like, when they talk to the critics they were like, yeah, it's kind of like if, Andy Warhol, but 50 years too late, like,
Right.
because he already did it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But that's what the music industry is today. It's like, it's like pop music, more of that, more of the same. I'll have that in younger. Great, thanks.
Yeah. Because I didn't know how it turned out because I didn't know that the movie was about this guy. I was watching at the end when I was really like in my mind, even though I kind of knew like that is not how it's going to pan out. I didn't know about the Madonna thing.
Oh yeah.
But I was in my mind. I was like, please, because like I know they're gonna all these people come through, and then they're gonna like talk to them and stuff. And I know some of them are just are not gonna get it, but I'm like, please let the it's at some point. It's just a matter of how many people are saying A versus B, right? How many people are saying, and there's pretty much very little in between, because I feel like people, they don't, well,
there's
if they feel like they don't know about art or music or something, they feel they're not qualified to get, I feel like people default to either it's great or it sucks if they're not willing to kind of like analyze further, right? And a lot of times I think people give stuff credit because they've just heard the hype and they're like, everybody thinks it's good, so it's good?
It's the deference to authority when authority happens to be weakly defined as consensus. Right? And so...
Or like the marketing material is the authority they're deferring to.
Well, right. Well, and so they interview there's people, right? And you get the varying responses about how like, it's like second-rate Warhol. To the other people are like, it's really neat. Like, I totally came and I saw the art and it was neat. And I'm totally reminded of, I used to date this girl who, she was really trendy. Like, she was very well dressed, spent a lot of money on clothes. She was really trendy. And she was always like, it's really important to be on trend. Like this was like a serious statement from her. Okay. No, I believe the exact opposite. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. But that's sort of like the mindset I'm reminded of, because I feel like if she had been there, this is exactly what she would have said. She would have been like, all these other people are here. That means this is the thing. So therefore it's good. Yeah, you're like, that live event I alluded to, it's happening. That bill is very real. You need to pay that. It's maddening. Like, in a lot of senses, it's maddening. Like, on what, like, so the banker in me is like, okay, this is great. This is highly exploitable, right? Like, this is it's very clear how this went down, and this is probably reproducible. But the artist in me is like, this is the worst possible thing, not only for art, but like for the progress of humanity. Right? Yeah. Because that's how it's like this is groupthink 101. Yeah. Like, having gone to 13 years of private Catholic school and then having lived, through our current hyper partisan political environment, like these are the machinations. They're plainly on display, and people are just like either oblivious or don't care or actually like bought into it. Like, be like, yeah, that's confirmed. And you're like, oh.
So when I was watching the movie, I remembered one person who told me about it who mentioned Mr. Brainwash, because I remember him being
Mr.
like,
Brainwash.
But I don't. I'm not going to say who, because I also don't remember for sure whether they were positive or negative, but I feel like they might have been kind of positive on it.
Who've been like, this guy's amazing story.
Because I think it was, I think it was one of those conversations where I was like, I haven't seen that movie because I don't give a shit about Banksy, or really street art in general. And then he was like, oh, but like Mr. Brainwash or something. And I was like, I don't know who that is. And he was like, oh, yeah. But I only remembered the name. And like in the movie is when I was like, oh, I've heard that name. Oh, right. My friend mentioned it, probably related to when this movie came out. He might have actually told me who it was really about, but I don't remember that. I just remember him being like, oh, yo, Mr. Brainwash. And I was like, whatever. And that was like, I feel like there was a positive tone to that. If he had been like, Mr. Brainwash, then I might have been like, tell me more about this.
What's funny though is I know nothing about street art. And then the day after watching the movie, I was like, "Hey, that's Space Invader." Like I was like,
I now know everything about street art.
I was like, I know what this stuff is now. So like, it was funny, but I don't know, man. It was weird. But I wasn't then compelled to go to Kinko's and make my own my own stencils and get a ladder.
Yeah,
you too can be a famous artist, kids. Chase your or somebody else's dreams. Go.
Chase your dreams, and if you don't have any, you just pick somebody else's. They're all good. Whatever.
And market it better than them.
As long as it involves making millions of dollars.
I almost feel like that's actually a better strategy, right? Because if you have your own dream, you're too clouded by your own idea of how it should be.
You don't know whether or not your dream is stupid.
Well, but even if it's not a stupid dream, it could still be something that's not economically viable, right? But whereas if it's someone else's dream, you're free at any point to like rip that up or twist it in a way to make it profitable.
So this is a good tie-in that doesn't deserve its own episode, but does deserve a mention. I watched the iHeartRadio Awards, which I kept forgetting what iHeartRadio was. I had looked it up before, but I forgot. So I looked it up again, and I was like, oh, right, rebranded Clear Channel.
Yeah.
So That explains it, because it's one of the worst, and it's hard to be worse than like, MTV VMAs is slightly worse than the Grammys. This is worse than that. They gave Bruno Mars an Innovator Award, and then it was great, 'cause in the video package about it, somebody was like, Bruno Mars, he mines the music of the past to create the sound of the future. And I was like, which part of this sounds like the future? It definitely sounds like the past.
In which part of this is innovative?
Right, exactly. I was like, wait, when does the innovation happen? Like, I get the mining the past part. Like, that's clearly a factor. Like, absolutely. I fully agree with that. He literally was a Michael Jackson impersonator.
Yeah.
I can there's a lot of Michael Jackson impersonators in the music industry right now. He is the only one I know of who like that was literally what he did, and he was on like cruise ships and stuff. So now I consider him like the world's most successful cruise ship performer, because he's still doing cruise ship stuff. Like, I mean, he's doing it at like a well-produced level, but like all of his ideas are, I want to do that old thing that I saw that they used to do, right?
Well, no, but this is totally in line with your whole theory about current bands choose a decade.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if your image or your name reflects a different decade. Right. As long as you pick a decade and stick to it.
Right. So pick somebody else's dream that is already panned out for them, and then just follow that.
Right. I'll take that in younger.
And don't deviate too much from the formula. Yeah. I was thinking if there's anything else about that was relevant. I mean, that was the biggest. I mean, there was, because every award was like, who's the most insufferable garbage that made a lot of money? They gave I forget which award it was, but the Chainsmokers got something, and they performed, which was
this was the people that I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
So their first song that I heard them do, which I first heard of them on the MTV Video Music Awards or whatever, because they performed, and they have this song with Halsey, who's some singer, and if you're not familiar, the Chainsmokers is a duo of two of the whitest dudes who ever been white, and I think they're from Colorado, but I immediately get this vibe from them where I'm like, these guys are assholes. I don't know. I might be jumping to conclusions, but I just feel like
they're the bad guys.
What
in
a bunch
the
of
80s.
toolbags.
They're the bad guys in the 80s.
They're just so like, I don't know. Anyway, the point is, there's a great article that like nailed it, which is they're the EDM, or sorry, they're the Nickelback of EDM, which is 100% accurate. So accurate, because they're like Nickelback is a rock band technically.
There's a new Nickelback out, by the way.
But I would not actually say that they have ever rocked. And similarly, like, this is the most, like, it's not like at least some EDM, you kind of go like, okay, this is like, they're doing some interesting sound manipulation in Ableton or some shit. And, you know, it's even though it's kind of formulaic dance music, there's some attempt at texture or something, you know?
There's like something you can get out of it.
Right. But this is just like the most bland,
lowest common denominator.
Common fucking denominator. Like, and it's so simple and dumb. And okay, so
and it sells.
The first single, which I hate in every conceivable way, that they did with Halsey, who also is terrible, it turns out, called "Closer," which is the thing about they're banging in the dude's rover. This the lyric just annoys the fuck out of me. Is something about how they reference Boulder, so I'm pretty sure they're from Colorado, and so it's about being from Colorado, and they're talking about this. Blah, 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 in the backseat of your Rover, which I know you can't afford. Bullshit. Those people can afford. First of all, you have it. So did he steal it? Did he steal a car? I don't think so. These guys are way too white to be stealing cars and still be making this kind of shitty music. Like, if they actually stole cars, they'd have some, I don't know, they'd have some kind of adversity. Right. They have some adversity in their life that would make them create
more
slightly
interesting,
less bland music.
Yeah.
So like, even like, if you just the lyrics, this is part of where the whole like the whitest douches I've ever seen thing, because like you just listen to the lyrics of the song and you're like, fuck these guys, unless you're like similarly a total white asshole. But
TWA.
So they're at this award show, and Halsey is there, and for some reason, maybe it's because like she's wearing this like super bright yellow outfit, but I felt like they were performing and you could see her in the crowd. So I thought she was going to like get up and do her part because I didn't know it wasn't the same song. So they're playing this song.
They all sound the same.
It was like that song, but even less interesting. It was like closer, but if the chorus never came, it's just like the verses.
It was further,
and it's and it's an AAA form song.
Yes,
and
it's my new favorite form.
It's we should call it AAA songwriting.
AAA,
because it's both AAA
fantastic.
And it also makes it sound like it's subpar.
That is
because it is.
That is fantastic.
So. Oh man. And here's the other great part. They since the VMAs where they just performed as this shitty duo, because it's like I won't call him a singer because he's awful, but the vocalist, technically he sings just like so poorly. Like just like this is what I expect their song to sound like if I heard it at karaoke. Only they're the actual band. And then the other dude who like probably makes the beats, right? So it's probably like beats guy, vocal guy. And when they performed at the iHeartRadio Awards, there was like, one of these big it was like a big stage, and then there's like some walkways and shit, and then like some extra little center like round, it's like in the round kind of deal, but
yeah.
So there's this one big stage in the back where all of the musicians they've hired are now. Like, so they performed at the VMAs, just the two of them,
yeah,
and probably like backing tracks for most shit. But at this one, they had a huge, like several backup singers, like horns and like a whole bunch of shit. But they're all in this one kind of backstage area. And then in the middle little center platform is the one dude who's actually in the band with like a keyboard. And he's just playing like, the block chord, like, like just like, I know how to keyboard, and then the vocalist dude who kind of just walks around and shit because whatever.
He's the front man.
Right. So, but I just thought it was funny that they're like, yeah, we hired a bunch of musicians, but they all got to stand over there.
Well, and no, my favorite is yeah, I've seen a few of these pop shows where they're on stage and then the musicians are literally like, they're in the shadows.
Yeah.
It's like, why even... Like why put them on stage?
Right.
Like, I don't even. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of the few things I want to give music industry credit for is that there do seem to be people who understand that a live band is going to translate better, right? It's just going to be. It's not karaoke, right? Yeah. So there's more energy, and frankly, I've seen some really mediocre pop stars who then I saw a clip of them playing live, and I was like, oh shit, they got a fucking awesome band, which of course they did. They have a lot of money,
right?
And I'm glad that musicians are getting work, even if it's in shitty bands,
right?
But like, and you can see the difference too. Like I said, like this really didn't translate to anything because the song was so fucking bad.
There's only so much you can do,
right? But I'm trying to think of like who the first person I really noticed this with was, but I did like at some point I started to notice it like Beyonce, Justin Timberlake, like anyone who's got the money at some point, if they're smart, is like, maybe I should hire a fucking band. And it gives them the freedom to like vamp in between while they change their outfit for the fifth time or whatever, and they'll use it to fill space because their songs are all 3 minutes long. So, if they just like played them through like metal bands do or whatever, they'd be done in like a half hour, but they need to fill like another hour. So they do all their little I think every clip I've seen of Beyonce, at some point she like explains some backstory about a song or some shit.
My favorite is that Taylor Swift Storytellers.
Oh yeah,
where so it was on. I saw it on the episode of The Soup, and they just spliced together just the talking parts. And she's like, this song's about a boy. She's like, this song's about a guy I used to date. I wrote this song after a really tough breakup. It was like 11. It was like 11 of basically a variation of that. It was fucking hilarious. This was from like what year is it now? This is 2017. This was from 2014. This is like 3 years ago. But Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's online. It's a Joel McHale soup clip.
Well, I used to watch the soup regularly
good.
Too. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Taylor Swift storytellers.
Oh, man.
VH1 storytellers. It's so fucking great.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm not surprised. I imagine there's got to be a lot of talking at any of those shows. And plus, and I imagine if you went and saw Bruno Mars, right? There's got to be one section of 10 minutes of crowd call and response type thing. It was
yeah.
Oh, and then they're everybody claps, and then they do the thing, and then they bring out the guest star, and everybody gets excited. It's basically pro wrestling.
Yeah, and any of that stuff that's been done, you'll see done more. So they're I'm trying to remember who first did it. I want to say it was shit. It might have been Usher. He would basically have a female fan come up and give them a lap dance or some shit.
What?
And then a bunch of other people copied that. Including Lil Dicky, who the internet rapper, who we have to do an episode about him still, because he's very interesting. Because it's not that he's the worst; he's far from the worst. And there's a lot of stuff he does well, but there's also but also he's not as good as he thinks he is.
But also he's not good,
right? But it was funny because I saw some live clip where he does that, and I was kind of I hope that's a real fan, because if you pick someone who just went with their friend to the show, I mean, I guess again, it's I guess they'd have to volunteer, but if they don't know what he's doing, he was all up on this shit,
he's probably got stripper dar, dude.
No, this girl was not a stripper.
Oh
no. And it was different, Usher is a really good dancer, right? And he's also ripped, right? He was one of the first dudes I remember doing the constantly pulling up his shirt thing, because he was just he was. I wonder at what point in human consciousness were guys man, I got these sick abs, but I'm always got a shirt covering them. Oh, I can't go everywhere without a shirt. Maybe I just lift my shirt up, and then I do it in a bam kind of way, like it's a reveal, kapow, my abs, but I remember Usher doing that, and now just everybody does it. There's anytime there's a good spoof on Justin Bieber, he's randomly just doing the gesturing and touching himself and kind of pulling his shirt up and shit, but he has a set of moves he does to emote that he learned as a teenager. So that's how he functions socially, probably. He probably doesn't like I said, basically anyone who does a good impression of Justin Bieber, can't sit still, right? They're constantly doing the little moves and shit as part of his swag or whatever. What he considers swag, I'm you have a bunch of social tics that a record label taught to you. Anyway. Yeah, so...
See, I thought you would pull up your shirt to reveal the gun in your waistband. That's the thing. That would be my assumed origin of the move.
Maybe that's where it came from. Maybe a dude did that, and then someone was like, yo, sweet abs, bro. And he was like, oh, I was just trying to threaten you, but thanks? I guess I don't have to cap you now? All right, I gotta think about this. Maybe I should just be doing that for my abs. Maybe I don't need a gun. Maybe I can just
maybe my abs are the way to clean up the streets.
Right. Abs, not guns, or something like that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else from iHeartRadio, which also just seems like a really aggressive name. It makes sense that it's Clear Channel, because it's we got to rebrand. Everyone knows Clear Channel's bullshit.
The devil.
Right.
So that name has a lot of bad ill will.
So how do we, because it makes sense too, because I said, I didn't pay attention, but I didn't know for the longest time what it was. I just knew it was another, first of all, I knew it was an award show without knowing what the fuck the organization was. But then I started seeing some other stuff related to it. And I was like, what is this thing? And so I looked it up after the awards, because I was like, this is really shitty awards.
So I got to ask, let's go back to your award show rankings for a second. Yeah. Where does the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice featuring John Cena as the host, Where's that in your rankings, Matt?
I've never watched the
Maybe
Kids'
we
Choice Awards.
should.
Maybe
we should, just to see how terrible it is with John Cena.
There's a lot of sliming. That could go either way. That could make it way more interesting, or it could really just be a shit show. I don't know.
I'm willing to bet that it's painful to watch.
It probably is.
But it's probably also unintentionally hilarious at times.
Right. It's probably like it's marketing to children, so at that point you kind of go like, well, marketing to kids, whatever. Just lots of bright colors, and
it should be like I've never been more glad to not have children than while watching this show.
Yeah.
There's no way I could pretend that this was okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably pretty low. Plus, it's probably a lot of like Disney stars and stuff.
Yeah, but I think like, I think they do have a lot of the other, like people who have not been arrested for stuff yet, right? Like I feel like Bruno's got a pretty wholesome image, right? Yeah. Like
Super
I'm
wholesome.
sure he's probably winning stuff,
definitely.
And I don't know.
Innovating.
He's the Nick Jr. innovator. He's the Nick at Night innovator.
Yes.
Be like we showed reruns of old shows.
Oh, we should just do
it's TV Land now, right? They moved all the reruns to TV Land.
Yeah. We got to put together a top Michael Jackson impersonator episode where we go through all
Or we could have an impersonators episode, right? Kind of like how, like Dred Zeppelin's the Fat Elvis.
Oh, yeah. But there's definitely enough Michael Jackson clones out there to do an entire episode. Because, most male pop stars are Michael Jackson and most female pop stars are Madonna. And that's just it's across the board, like very little deviation from that. And, like, most of the things that they get given credit for is like stuff Madonna did,
stuff
or
you
stuff Michael
forgot
Jackson,
about,
right? Or stuff you weren't around for because you're not old enough to remember the 80s, which is why we provide a vital service to the music community on this podcast, because we remember the 80s.
We're technically music historians.
Yes,
we're archivists. We should just film everything in our lives and just put the footage in a storage bin somewhere. In a